Legal English. Tort law. A tort is a civil wrong that can be remedied by awarding damages. Other remedies may also be available. These civil wrongs result in a harm to a person or property that forms the basis of a claim by the injured party. The harm can be physical, emotional, or financial. Examples of torts include medical negligence, negligent damage to private property, and negligent misstatements causing financial loss. There are many specific torts such as trespass, assault, and negligence. Business torts include fraudulent misrepresentation, interference in contractual relations, and unfair business practices. Torts fall into three general categories: intentional torts, for example, unfair competition; negligent torts, causing an accident by failing to obey traffic rules; and strict liability torts, for example, liability for making and selling defective products. Why some wrongs are dealt with by tort law or the law of torts, and others considered criminal offenses, is the subject of some debate. However, there are certainly overlaps between tort law and criminal law. For example, a defendant can be liable to compensate for assault and battery in tort, and also be punished for the criminal law offense of assault. Differences between tort law and criminal law include the parties involved. The state brings an action in crime, a private individual brings an action in tort. The standard of proof, higher in criminal law, and the outcomes, a criminal action may result in a conviction and punishment, whereas an action in tort may result in liability on the part of the defendant and damages awarded to the claimant. The primary aims of tort law are to provide relief for the harm suffered and deter other potential tortfeasors from committing the same harms. The injured person may sue for both an injunction to stop the tortion conduct and for monetary damages. Depending on the jurisdiction, the damages awarded will be either compensatory or punitive. Compensatory damages are intended as far as it possible to put the victim in the position he or she would have been in had the tort not occurred. Punitive damages are awarded to punish a wrongdoer, as well as compensation for damage to property. Damages may also be awarded for loss of earnings capacity, future expected losses, pain and suffering, and reasonable medical expenses. Criminal law. Criminal law, sometimes also really called penal law, involves the prosecution by the state of a person for an act that has been classified as a crime. This contrasts with civil law, which involves private individuals and organizations seeking to resolve legal disputes. Prosecutions are initiated by the state through a prosecutor, while in a civil case the victim brings the suit. Some jurisdictions also allow private criminal prosecutions. Depending on the offense and the jurisdiction, various punishments are available to the courts to punish an offender. A court may sentence an offender to execution, corporal punishment, or loss of liberty, imprisonment, or incarceration. Suspend the sentence, impose a fine, put the offender under government supervision through parole or probation, or place them on a community service order. Criminal law commonly prescribes, that is, it prohibits several categories of offenses. Offenses against the person, for example, assault; offenses against property, burglary; public order crimes; and business or corporate crimes, for example, insider dealing. Most crimes, with the exception of strict liability crimes such as statutory rape and certain traffic offenses, are characterized by two elements: a criminal act, actus reus, and criminal intent, mens rea. To secure a conviction, prosecutors must prove that both actus reus and mens rea were present when a particular crime was committed. In criminal cases, The burden of proof is often on the prosecutor to persuade with the trial, with the judge or jury, that the accused is guilty beyond a reasonable doubt of every element of the crime charged. If a prosecutor fails to prove it, a verdict of not guilty is rendered. This standard of proof contrasts with civil cases where the claimant generally needs to show a defendant is liable on the balance of probabilities. In the USA, this is referred to as a preponderance of the evidence. Some jurisdictions distinguish between felonies, more serious offenses such as rape, and misdemeanors, less serious offenses such as petty theft. It is also worth noting that the same incident may sometimes lead to both a criminal prosecution and an action in tort.